everybody, and welcome to another KMU Live podcast. I'm your host, Ricky Chabruggi, and joining me down there in Elkhart, Derek Relaford. How you doing, Derek?
Hey, don't forget about Typhon.
Oh yeah, Tyson. Yeah, you're right, Weiler. He just looks all excited down there.
Typhon with a P. I didn't name him. I would have named
Python.
him something like that.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're good. Israel is watching from Oklahoma. I love that. Hey, real quick, everybody. Welcome to the new year real quick. This is Ricky's show. I'm going to let him do it how he normally does here and give me like 30, 40 seconds just to talk with you as a producer. We started this show now 5 years ago, and we used to have hundreds of people watching from the Facebook page that Ricky's created. He's got like 80, 90,000 followers. As of the last time we went live, Facebook has not done very, 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 very many favors for Ricky's broadcasting. His flyers get shared like crazy, so we would never dare to complain that Facebook, quote unquote, doesn't work. But the live stream is not telling people. A lot of people, it tells some people, but unless Ricky pays Facebook, they only show his certain types of content to around 2% of his people that follow him. You can Google that fact. Around 2% of people who want to know what Ricky's doing are only being told right now that he's live. So if you love Ricky, if you want to help people get saved, if you want to help people get found, please, 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 please click that share button. We're on YouTube. We're all over the place. Please get this in front of eyes. Ricky does a lot of work on these flyers, and they need to be seen by people. Ricky, welcome to the new year. Go ahead and start your show, buddy.
Yeah, I'm sitting there looking at comments and see Chris Unruh. How you doing, Chris? Rodney, how you doing? Ellen, how you doing? My brother says good evening, and then he says sad start to the new year with the events in New Orleans and Las Vegas. I'm familiar with the New Orleans event. I've been reading up on that about the guy that plowed his truck into a crowd down there on Bourbon Street, and I think the death toll's up to 15, 35 injured. I'm not familiar with what happened in Las Vegas, though.
Me neither, man. Double T's, good evening as well. Yeah, me and Stephanie were kind of watching the news. It reminded me of a couple years ago, a guy drove a pickup truck through a parade, and I actually have a close friend of mine. He's a retired military guy. You know, he's awesome, and his wife and children, and they were involved in that. And it kind of reminds me of that. There's a lot of times that we have debates in this country whenever a lot of people get harmed or maimed or killed, that well, we got to take away whatever instrument of death was used to get rid of these people. But at the end of the day, now we're seeing people use vehicles. We can't take vehicles away. We got to get people back to caring about people, and also people pointing out people that aren't acting quite normal.
Yeah, and I watched a little video from a news station down that way, and they were saying that the FBI has taken the lead in the investigation on the New Orleans situation. They said they feel like it was a planned attack, and they do not believe he acted alone. They think there are more players involved, so they're actively searching those players out. Las Vegas was a truck purposely exploded outside the Trump Hotel, killing the driver. As with New Orleans, it's being investigated as a suspected terror attack. Oh. Yeah, they were saying that New Orleans was a terror attack as well. You're correct.
You know what? I'll say this. I woke up cranky in 2025, man, but I was talking to my wife. We were watching the coverage of that, and it was like just live coverage of them. The news just being like, well, maybe it's this. Well, maybe it's this. They were talking about ISIS, all this stuff. And it was these like two people in suits, and I got mad, and I was like, hey, Steph, how much money do you think these people get paid to do what we do for free? Like, it's like at the end of the day, sometimes it's better to turn those news. Those people are just, they want you to watch as long as possible because they get paid for that. And at the end of the day, like I would say, turn it on every 30 or 40 minutes and see if there's any updates. Because I feel like some of these news sources, I just know it. Whenever they hear of some maiming of a huge group of people, their ears perk up and they get in their vans and run. So I don't know. I feel really weird about this 24/7 coverage of this awful stuff. But at the end of the day, it sounds like when you have everybody with cell phones and stuff, maybe they'll kind of see. But at the end of the day, we're going to try to find some missing people today. We're probably not going to talk a whole lot about that case. Real quick, Mariah Bay Sawyer from McPherson, Kansas, or McPherson, however people say it.
Yeah. It's playing hardball with you guys, is it? Yeah.
I'm not mad at Mark Zuckerberg. Look, if you just go to Ricky's page, look how many followers he has. First of all, that's amazing. Look at how many shares his flight. Like, there's no complaints that it's awesome what Facebook does. But at the end of the day, I understand that it's a business, they have to make money at some capacity. Jordan Foster is here. Dietrich Foster, missing unsolved homicide.
Yeah.
I want to just we can do a little bit more of a introduction here in a little bit, but let's just go ahead and go to Dietrich's flyer because I know Jordan's here, and I haven't got to speak to Jordan in quite some time. I've been moving and dealing with some stuff. But Ricky, go ahead and cover this flyer, and then I kind of want to talk a little bit about Dietrich.
Alrighty. Give me just a second here. That was one that I missed. I meant to pull his and I missed it. How did I do that? It's been one of them kind of days. Yeah. I apologize profusely to pull him. And I've got like over 20 flyers loaded for the show, so we're doing good. This is Dietrich Foster, missing from Independence, Kansas since April 12, 2020. When he went missing, he's now 42. 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He was reported missing on May 12th of 2020. He was last seen around April 12th of 2020. KBI agents and detectives from the Independence Police Department are conducting the case as a homicide based upon findings during the investigation into Dietrich's disappearance. And he was 37 when he went missing. He's now 42, 5'9", 190 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He has a scar on his chest from heart surgery, a scar on the right side of his nose. He has the following tattoos: a cross on his right forearm, the astrological sign for Gemini on his right arm, 3 dice on his arm, the name Dejeuner on his arm, and the word foo on his abdomen. If you have any information regarding Dietrich's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Independence, Kansas Police Department at 620-332-1700 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And there is a governor's reward of $5,000 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of those responsible for the disappearance and suspected murder of Dietrich Foster. So if any information anybody has, no matter how small or minute or insignificant you think it may be, call it in. It may be something huge the investigators need. So let's make sure that we do that. I can't stress that enough.
Babe, can you go to on Facebook and search the Dietrich Foster Missing Unsolved Homicide Facebook page? It's either a page or a group. DETRECK Foster. If you're watching the stream from Facebook and you're on a browser, go ahead and open up a new link. Let's all go to that page. Now, there's this, Ricky and we're really try to be very careful on this channel as far as not saying things that the police haven't put out there. I think Ricky has a lot of integrity. That's obviously the number one reason why Ricky doesn't just kind of air any kind of speculation out there. But the second one is, I don't think you have time, and like you're a busy dude and you work. You're barely hanging on with your schedule. So, but at the end of the day, just because Ricky only shares flyers and only shares like what I would call like verified evidence, doesn't mean that that's where the conversation ends online. If you go to these Facebook pages, there's a big conversation happening. They do go into areas where I wouldn't feel comfortable saying, they're like, we think these people did it. I don't think I would feel comfortable saying those people's names, but I just kind of want to let everybody know that the names are out there. A lot of these cases that we cover, they have their own independent pages. A lot of the pages are ran by people that me and Ricky have talked to and we respect. And I would recommend checking out these pages and doing deep dives. Ricky, there's a new YouTube channel I found yesterday. It's they've combined true crime with gaming, which a lot of people feel is like unethical. But basically, it's this company. They bring in ethical hackers, people who hack for like the government and good people. And they didn't know it at first, but they compete against each other on finding missing people. And they didn't realize until about like the second or third month that they were doing it. The contestants didn't realize that they were real people. They were finding people, man. They were using the internet and AI and databases to find real-time missing people. So what my point is, we are in that time period where you can utilize, you don't have to be a hacker. You can utilize the internet, AI, you can utilize Chat GPT to put all this stuff together and really, corner in on some good possibilities and theories to actually give police. It's not just a muttered mess of information. But Ricky, the governor's reward, $5,000. Talk a little bit about how like that makes you feel, Ricky, whenever you see a $5,000, because you make every flyer and you don't put that on every flyer. So no. It means to you whenever you get to put the red box on a flyer.
I don't know what their criteria is for that exactly. Why not every case gets that, only certain ones. I'm not sure what their criteria is, but I wished I knew. I'm gonna have to read more into that. But it's nice when that kind of thing does come up. I mean, that means to me that they're taking it seriously and they want to get this thing solved. So you know that's what I mean. We're trying to help what we can do, and see what we can do to help that along too.
Yeah.
So. And Aaron saying Happy New Year and thank you for helping in our granddaughter's case. Precious Baskew is his granddaughter, and she was located safe yesterday. So
Real quick before we get
sent
into
a
the
message letting me know.
oh, go ahead. Real quick before we get into the actual show, do you have any updates on if Kenny, any kind of funeral or any kind of arrangements that have been made for Kenny?
I haven't heard anything. Not a word. Not a word.
That would be nice to know if there was any kind of.
Please find my niece's father. Who would that be?
Yeah, if you could post your niece's father, maybe we have a flyer we could even share tonight.
Yeah.
Esther is in the house.
Hey Esther, how you doing?
Well, welcome to KMU 2025 edition. Let's get some butts in seats. Share this show out. Let's get as many eyes on this as possible. Ricky, tell us about Jamie Jasmine Zubia Hernandez.
All right, I'm looking for her flyer. My long list here. Here it is. Jamie Jasmine Zubia Hernandez. She ran away from her foster home in Athena, Kansas on June 9th, 2012. She was 13 years old at the time. Prior to her disappearance, Jamie had recently been prosecuted in a juvenile court for drug possession. She was due in court for her sentencing shortly after her disappearance. Jamie never showed up and was never seen by her foster family again. There was unfortunately very little media coverage on Jamie's disappearance, likely due to her runaway status. 3 years later, during the morning hours of May 30th, 2015, a Kansas City resident called the police to report a shootout in the 2500 block of Ridge Avenue. According to the witness, two vehicles fired shots at each other, and a female passenger in one of the vehicles was killed as a result. The female passenger's body was dumped on the side of the road, and the vehicles drove off before police arrived. 2 days later, on June 1st, 2015, authorities announced that the slain female was identified as Jamie. The identity of Jamie's killer remains unknown, as does the identity of the driver in the car that Jamie was riding in when she was shot. Additionally, Jamie's whereabouts from June 2012 to May 2015 still remain a mystery. Although she was ultimately found in Kansas City, it's unknown where she stayed or how she survived during those 3 years. Investigators said they received a tip that Jamie was in Kansas City back in 2013, but when they followed said lead, they were unable to find her. At that time, police were searching for a late 1990s or early 2000s white Ford F-150 with flare sides, tinted windows, 20-inch chrome wheels, and a touchscreen device in the cab. The truck was located on June 2nd, 2015, unoccupied, and was taken and processed for evidence. If you have any information regarding Jamie's murder, please call the Athena, Kansas Police Department at 785-989-4521, or you can call the tips line anonymously at 816-474-8477, or at KBI at 1-800-572-7463. Or down there at the bottom, you can see that Say It Here QR code. You can scan that, and it'll take you to the kccrimestoppers.com, and you can report your tip that way as well. And I'd really like to see somebody held accountable for that. I mean, 13 years old, shot in some kind of a confrontation between vehicles, dumped out on the street, on the side of the road, left, and you just left her there to die. Like she was nothing. And she obviously was. She was somebody's daughter, somebody's sister, somebody's niece, somebody's granddaughter. So, I mean, there needs to be some justice dealt out for that. Let's keep this one going and see if we can't help get her some justice, because she really deserves it.
I want to shout out to Rodney Cox. He says that he has shared out to his friends list. That's amazing, Rodney. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
So that's a phrase you said is something I say. Like, I'll be honest, it's usually in a joking manner, but I'm kind of serious. If I'm out with I'm a father of two. I'm in my 40s. I'm usually at work or at my house. Like, I don't really hang out with the boys often. But when you go out with your buddies, like anytime a friend's like, oh, you see that girl over there? She's cute. I'm just always like, that's somebody's daughter. And my buddy has daughters. He's like, why do you say that? It hurts my. I'm like, well, because it's true, man. Watch how you treat people. That's somebody's little girl, Like,
right?
That's that. So my point is like that phrase goes out to watch how you treat people who are still alive. But like, it is tragic, Like, this is somebody's daughter. This is somebody's friend, and they're no longer here. And it's really easy to look at this flyer at like a, online and read it, and be like, that's sad. And you kind of move on. But like, if you're Jamie's friend, like you probably think about it probably the majority of your day.
Right. I just, I've talked about in the past that, there's the one line in there where it says that her case got a little media attention, likely because of her runaway status. And that's true, because a lot of times, they put that label runaway on a kid, and automatically people are just like, oh, well, that's, just a bad kid that won't stay home. Won't get their, they won't discipline them, so they stay home or whatever. But it's not always the case. And, that I think that label puts a stigma on a kid, and it shouldn't. Every kid is important regardless of whether they're in the system or not in the system. It doesn't matter, So, I mean, we need to find them, get them back to a safe place, and see what's going on, and try to help them the best we can.
Yeah. I'm trying to get somebody to maybe call in tonight for the show. I'll let you know more as I know. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and keep going. But all these cases, all these flyers that we're talking about are on the Kansas Missing and Unsolved Facebook page. Please, if you're on Facebook, share those. Especially if the town or state, like a lot of times the town's really close to your town, so maybe that would be really relevant to share it there. But let's talk about Rochelle Elizabeth Hammond.
Okay, she's missing from Moscow, Colorado since August 15, 2019. She was 30 when she went missing. She's now 35, 5'6", 120 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. Rochelle was last seen walking away from her Moscow, Colorado home. She left all of her belongings behind, including her phone, her identification, her car, her computer, her tools, and her pet dog. Rochelle had only been living in the area for about 3 weeks prior to her disappearance. She'd previously lived in the Columbus, Ohio area. She may be homeless, and although police can find little evidence in her disappearance, her mother believes she did not leave of her own accord and may have been a human trafficking victim. She does suffer from bipolar disorder and schizophrenia and has been prescribed medication for her conditions, which she also left behind. Rochelle's nose is pierced. She has numerous tattoos, including the phrase "live like a lion" on her upper chest, the star behind her ear, the skull on the back of her wrist, stars on the inside of her forearm, a cat with a bong on her shoulder, and other tattoos, and some of them are pictured there, you can see. She was last known to be wearing a black tank top, khaki shorts, black Nike shoes, and she has a silver circular barbell in her nose. If you have any information regarding Rochelle's disappearance, of her whereabouts, please call the Alamosa County, Colorado Sheriff's Office at 719-589-6608 and see if we can't help get her located and back home to her family where she belongs.
Me and Hope we have some friends on our podcast. Me and Hope do 7 Day Circle, where they've done some research on that area. There's some sand dunes there. Apparently there's some other, other unsolved situations there. I'd love to go there and do some filming just interview some people and then try to ask as many, because for other reasons, there's a lot of the sand dunes are just really cool to look at. There's a lot of reasons to go to this area and film as a content creator. But if I do that, I definitely want to have you give me, I want to print a lot of these and hang these on that area, since that was the last place she was seen. Because I bet you somebody remembers her. If she was there for a month, right. She met somebody.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got Daniel Berry, Sports Highlights, saying, "What's up, everyone?"
That's awesome. If you want, you can pin the comments and stuff. I'll kind of do the flyer page. Okay. All right, here we go. Haley Davis. Any updates in the new year with what's going on in the Haley Davis situation?
I haven't heard a word. I keep hoping something will break soon, that we'll get some kind of information, but as of yet, nothing. Of course, she's missing from here in Salina, Kansas since July 21st of 2023. She was 19 when she went missing. She's now 20. She's 5'6" to 5'7", weighs between 190 and 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde, and she does have blue eyes. She did leave Salina with a male acquaintance to go to Wichita, Kansas. She was last active on her social media and last heard from on July 21st. Again, she was 19 when she went missing. She's now 20. She's 5'6" to 5'7", weighs between 190 and 200 pounds. Her hair was last known to be dyed bleach blonde, and she has blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Haley's disappearance, her whereabouts, please call the Salina, Kansas Police Department at 785-826-7210. Or you can call the Crime Stoppers number, 785-825-8477, or text SA Tips to Crimes, which is 274-637, or you can go to www.pd.salina.org and follow the Crime Stoppers link to submit a tip that way. We're now Wichita Police. They've been involved now for a little while, and you can call them at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4407 or 316-263-6011 or at KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't help get her located and back home to her family. I know she's got a little son that misses her terribly, and her brother misses her, her aunt, other family and friends that she have misses her. I just want her home. I have no idea what Derek's doing besides talking to someone on the phone. I don't know what he's got going on. He was talking about having somebody call into the show, so we'll see if that's what's in the works. I'm not sure.
All right, Ricky. Real quick, we're gonna do a hard cut. There's not really. It's not an update, but it's kind of an update. But before you read this next flyer, we do have a source. We'll just leave it loosely at that. So in the AJ Perez case, I guess you can. I'm talking to the source now on the phone, Ricky. You can just kind of listen. Tell us a little bit what you can tell us about what's going on.
Well, they sentenced Oscar. He ended up getting in charge for everything, anything to do with AJ. He's got sentenced to 156 months. But then he said he knows where AJ's body's at, but he had nothing to do with it, he says. If they find the body, they're only going to give him 151 months, which really makes no sense. 5 months difference makes no sense to me. So,
okay, so I'm just gonna ask you, like, so we do this show, and Ricky makes the flyers. I help get his message onto the internet, and then, but like, you're somebody who will be very vague, but you're somebody who's connected to AJ. You loved him very much. What is it like to hear verbiage like that, where people like the court people, the person they're suspecting of, they're using the word, they're talking about AJ in the frame of AJ's body? Like, what does it feel like to be attached to that, and knowing that they're basically telling you, but not telling you that your one's not coming home, at least alive?
I mean, it'd bring a lot of closure if he, they had the body, obviously, but we still know justice was done, but it would bring a lot of closure. It's been a long 4 years,
Now, just again, and I'm going to talk to you, obviously, as soon as the show's done. I'll call you back and we'll talk off air. But okay. Basically, like, so what you're saying is, like, and I guess my question is this, like, Ricky, he makes these flyers and it says missing person, but obviously with how we've covered this case over the last 4 years, we've all kind of alluded that maybe AJ probably wasn't alive anymore. At what point do you feel like it'll be made in a public setting that AJ Perez is no longer with us? Like, I guess, is it when they find the body? Because, like, I mean, when they're using this terminology, anybody, a fly on the wall, would assume that AJ is no longer with us. Like, when does the public know? When can you have like something like a funeral?
Well, hopefully he really knows where the body's at. We'd love that, and then we figure things out from there. But it's been about 2 weeks and we still haven't heard anything. The body came up yet or nothing. So,
okay. Last question, and then again, I'm going to call you as soon as the show's over. Do you feel like you have closure, knowing that like everybody's do you feel like you have personal closure that AJ is in a better place now, like heaven and stuff, stuff like that? Like, he's at least no longer suffering.
Yeah, I've kind of come to pass with that a long time ago. I've had a feeling, he was gone. So, in a better place with my parents and my brother, that's what I felt. So.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate it. Again, I just hit you up. I'll call you as soon as the show's over. We can talk more in depth, obviously, but thank you we just wanted to kind of give an update. Ricky's going to read his flyer, but I knew that you knew more than we knew, and I've been trying to get you to, on the air for a while, but I appreciate it. And I'll call you here in like an hour. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. All right, Rick, go ahead. And basically, for anybody just tuning in, we just, from a source, in my opinion, we should put unsolved homicide on this flyer. But Ricky, go ahead. It's your show.
Yeah. Hopefully, kind of recap that he was saying that the guy that they originally were charged would drop the charges says he knows where Alex's body is, but he's not giving it up. Is that the thing? Is that what he
So
said?
what I heard him say is basically that he's not going to be right now. He got charged with a bunch of stuff. He's going to do like 156 months, I guess, for nothing to do with AJ. But I guess he's trying to work. He says he knows where AJ's body is, and right now they're in the negotiation stage. To me, if AJ's your brother, son, or friend, I would stop listening there once you say such and such's body. I'm like, wow, so my buddy's dead. To me, like that's I'm glad the police are going to find out what happened and where he's at and everything. But to me, like he's gone, man. That sucks. AJ's probably not coming home based on what people who I trust their opinion, police and people that are being charged with it. I think it's safe to say that AJ Perez is probably no longer with us, and that's awful, man.
Yeah, it is awful. Hopefully the guy will do the right thing and just let him know where he's at so he can be, brought back to his family and laid to rest, properly. That's what needs to be done. But as for now, we'll go ahead and cover him like we have every week for the last 4 years. So, Alexander Perez missing from Ulysses, Kansas since December 1st, 2020. Was 35 when he went missing. He's now 39. He's 5'11", 235 pounds, black hair that he shaves, nearly bald, and brown eyes. He had called a family member via telephone on December 1st and said he'd be coming over to do laundry. Alexander never arrived at his family member's home, and he has not been heard from or seen by family since then. He had been staying with family and friends prior to his disappearance. And at the time of his disappearance, he was 35. He's now 39. He's 5'11", weighs 235 pounds. Has black hair that he shaves, nearly bald, and brown eyes. Has a tattoo of a bumblebee on his face underneath his left eye. Has Perez tattooed on one of his arms. Has a tattoo of a cross on the chain across his chest. If you have any information regarding Alexander's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Grant County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-356-3500 or the Ulysses, Kansas Police Department at 620-356-4600 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And let's get him found and get him back to his family. So like I say, if he is no longer with us, they can at least lay him to rest properly. And then Jessica Jensen, John Jensen's daughter, is here. I haven't seen anything recently on anything about the skeletal bones that were found. I'm still waiting to see if anything pops up. Hopefully they can identify them.
Which skeletal bones?
They had found some down in Wichita, and then there was another set that was found somewhere else, and I can't remember where that was.
Not Kenny.
No. No, it was two other ones. One was in Wichita, and one was in another location, and I can't remember where the location was. But I'm trying to follow both cases. I posted articles about both of them on Kansas Missing. I'll have to scroll down and find them and see if I can find any updates. Yeah. And there is Jonathan Jensen. Boy, do I have a long list of flyers here. Whew. John Jensen is missing from Kerwin, Kansas since June 14th, 2023. He was 52 when he went missing. He's now 54. I apologize about my daughter. I'm sure you guys can hear. 5'11", 190 pounds, brown hair, hazel eyes. He left without his vehicle, his cell phone, or his wallet. And he was 52 when he went missing. He's now 54. 5'11", weighs 190 pounds, has brown hair and hazel eyes. If you have any information regarding Jonathan's disappearance, you know of his whereabouts, please call the Phillips County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 785-543-6885 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can't get John located and back home to his family, because there again, another family member is waiting and wondering and, wanting to see their family member brought home. So let's see if we can't do our best to make that happen. Sorry about my daughter. She's in there on her computer doing something, just laughing and having a good old time.
She's probably watching the same video my son's watching upstairs. I had to mute earlier and be like, hey, stop laughing. We're talking about some dark stuff.
I know. I'm about to do the same.
Cynthia Renee Gonzalez, Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, this is another unsolved homicide. On September 17th, 1991, Cynthia Renee Gonzalez was reported missing to the Arlington, Texas Police Department. On September 22nd, 1991, Cynthia's body was discovered in a creek bed off County Road 313 in Johnson County, Texas. It was later determined Cynthia had died from multiple gunshot wounds. Cynthia was reportedly at her apartment with her boyfriend when her husband stopped by to deliver their daughter for a weekend visit. Sometime later on, Cynthia left for an appointment without her customary bodyguard, and she was never seen again. Serial killer Kenneth Allen McDuff was looked at in connection with Cynthia's death. Jim Ford, longtime Arlington police officer and renowned homicide investigator, had looked at McDuff in connection with Cynthia's case for going on 18 years. He was never able to make a match or a mismatch. McDuff was believed to have abducted a victim from a car wash in Austin, Texas. Sorry about that. Cynthia's car, a two-seat Pontiac Fiero, was seen parked at a car wash in Arlington the day she disappeared. There were similarities in the Austin case and Cynthia's case. He kidnapped, sexually assaulted, and killed his victim at a car wash in Austin. He dumped the bodies of several of his victims in a rural area. He killed several victims by shooting them. Investigators could not place McDuff in the Arlington area and could not determine whether he was out on the streets at that time, but could not find him as being incarcerated at that time either. Other persons of interest have come up, but have been cleared as well. McDuff has since been ruled out by DNA. If you have any information regarding Cynthia's death, please contact Detective Stafford at 817-459-5772. If you wish to remain anonymous and possibly receive a reward of up to $1,250, please call the Toronto County, Texas Crime Stoppers at 817-469-8477 and see if we can't get some justice for Cynthia and her family as well. And that's kind of an older case there.
Yeah.
Yep. About 33 years ago, a little over.
I just sent a screenshot to my buddy who does. He's a script writer for like podcasts and stuff, and he goes really, really deep on like research and stuff. So I just sent him a screenshot of this, and I said, "Hey, I dare you to do an episode on your show on this case." He'd probably get on the internet. We could do like maybe he could tell us like some stuff we don't know. Because you're right. There's got to be a lot of stuff on the internet about this.
No, I'm sure. I did, as I was reading it, omit some stuff that was on the flyer per request of her family member. So I did omit a little bit of it, but not much. I think about this case a lot when I go pay my rent because somebody over there owns a little white Fiero, and I see it sitting over there when I go pay my rent.
Yeah.
So it makes me think about this case.
Dana Jane Bruce.
Yeah, another one we have been covering religiously for a very long time. She's missing from Sedalia, Missouri since October 4th, 2008. She was 23 when she went missing. She's now 39. She's 5'2", 98 pounds, brown hair, green or hazel eyes. She was last seen at her children's babysitter's home in Sedalia. She left the children there earlier that day so she could go out for the evening. She returned at midnight, gave the babysitter more money, and asked her to watch the children for the rest of the night. Dana was seen at Malone's Bar on Main Street with a young man driving a late model red Ford F-150 truck earlier on the night of her disappearance. She left with that man at 11:30 p.m. Police have identified the man Dana was with on the night she vanished. He traveled to Atlanta, Georgia after her disappearance, and police questioned him about Dana after he was arrested there on unrelated charges of marijuana possession and driving on a suspended license. Authorities have not named him publicly, but they are calling him a person of interest in her case. He told his questioners that he and Dana parted ways after they left the bar, and he never saw her after that. She left all of her belongings behind, including her hairbrush and toothbrush. She does not have credit cards, debit cards, checking account, cell phone, or a car. Again, at the time of her disappearance, she was 23. She would now be 39. She's 5'2", weighs 98 pounds. She has brown hair that was colored brown at the roots, black at the ends with red highlights, and green or hazel eyes. She was last known to be wearing a black shirt with the word Rebel and silver lettering on the front and blue jeans. She has a tattoo of a teddy bear with wings and the name Dylan on her upper left arm. She is blind in her left eye. She has a 2-inch scar along her lower spine and a staple scar on her right shoulder. Dana's ears were pierced one time each. If you have any information regarding Dana's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Sedalia, Missouri Police Department at 660-827-7823 or 660-826-8100 or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178 or their other numbers 866-362-6422 or you can call Private Investigator Leslie at 910-427-0070 and see if we can't help get Dana located and back to her family as well. another one we've been covering for a long time, and I know her family has been, wanting her home so they can know where she's at and what happened to her.
Long 2008.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Yeah. Definitely. I'm really hoping this is the year that a lot of these older cases get resolved this year. I really do. I would love to see them get resolved.
Dude, I'm telling you, I forget what that YouTube channel is called, but they turned true crime and into a game where you get points and like win money. But it kind of, I don't know. It wouldn't take you long to find somebody to be like, that's weird. But at the end of the day, you have these tools, you have these people that are their talent that they were given is that they can just locate things and put things together. I think you're right, man. I think technology has finally started to catch up where the general public can help solve cases,
Right.
just information that's out there and utilizing tools that people your age and even my age don't understand. You know what I mean? Like, I think you're right. If I was
What's the
somebody, go ahead.
What's the name of that YouTube channel? I want to check that
I'll
out.
look at that. But one thing that I'll say is if you're somebody who's out there in the general public and these flyers freak you out because you have something to do with an old case, I would be kind of nervous going into 2020. I just think you're going to get like sold out by bored people that are playing a video game with it. They think they're playing a video game. I would be nervous, start doing that YOLO stuff, go on that trip, book that cruise because the cops might be coming pretty soon. Let me see. I mean, I think you're right, though. I think it's just people are solving cases out of boredom now. YouTube True Crime Show, gaming. Yeah, they call it gamifying missing flyers. Let me look what it's called. I don't know. I saw it today, though. I'll find it. Go ahead and I'll let you put the next. I'll put the next flyer on the screen, but I'll find it next flyer.
Yeah, this one's a pretty old case here. This one goes back to 1951. This is Maribel Henley, missing from Wichita, Kansas, on June 5th, 1951. She was 25 when she went missing. She would now be 98. She's 5'8" to 5'9", weighs between 125 and 135 pounds, brown hair and brown eyes. She may use the middle name Beth, or her maiden name is Davis. Mary married when she was in her teens and had 3 children. 1951, she left the children with her mother in Cooksville, Tennessee, the city where she'd been raised, and moved to Wichita to be with a gentleman friend. His name was supposedly Houston West, and he supposedly worked for Boeing. After moving to Wichita, Mary wrote to her children a few times on stationery from the now demolished Royce Hotel there. Eventually, the letter stopped. In her last letter to her family, Mary asked them to mail her some summer clothes. They did, but a few weeks later, the unclaimed package of clothing was returned. Mary's family never heard from her again. The police had contact with her in Wichita on June 5th, 1951. This is the last indication of Mary's whereabouts. At the time of her disappearance, Mary was 25 years old. She would now be 98. She's 5'8" to 5'9", weighs between 125 and 130 pounds. She has brown hair and brown eyes, and she has a mole on her chin. If you have any information regarding Mary's disappearance or you know of her whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181 or 316-268-4111 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can at least get some information rounded up as to what may have happened to her and try to help get her found. I know it's been a long time, but I will say nothing is impossible. I mean, we did a case several years ago, I think even before the podcast started, I don't remember. There was a gentleman that went missing from Fort Riley back in the 50s, and he was eventually found because his Canadian grandfather stepped forward and said, hey, he's been living up here all these years, and they confirmed it with DNA, and he sent me a photo of what his grandfather looked like, up to that point, and you could tell it was the same gentleman, and his case was cleared. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to say nothing's impossible. So even though this case is that old, we could still make an impact on it. So let's do our best to do that.
So it's not a YouTube channel. It's a company, and they're called Trace Labs.
Okay.
It was founded in 2018 by a guy named Robert Sell, who's like a search and rescue guy.
Mm-hmm.
And they've done 35 of these basically conventions where they host, where hackers come in and compete with each other. And it says they've assisted in 300 actual missing person cases since they were founded in 2018. But
Wow.
just the idea that exists, that you can turn something like a missing persons flyer into a game, and people at the end of the game, somebody's found, or you have somebody to go talk to, that's wild.
That is. That is very wild. I like that. Now I'm saying thank you for sharing Rochelle Hammond and Dana Bruce's flyers. You're welcome, Ellen. That's Dana's aunt. So we're always glad to be able to share their flyers. Hopefully someday, we'll be able to put a located on them both and know that they're home. But until then, we'll keep covering them. Like I said, I'm hoping this is the year that a lot of these older cases get resolved.
Yeah. The next flyer in the thing says Kansas missing person statue. Did you want to show that tonight?
Yeah, we can go ahead and talk about that just a little bit because I like going over that because a lot of people are unaware of it for one. And I just like to be able to remind people that basically this is actually enacted in 2016 by former Kansas Attorney General Derek Schmidt.
While you talk about this, I'm going to step off camera and talk to that source again, but I'll be right here in earshot.
Okay. Basically, it states that all law enforcement agencies of the state of Kansas or any political subdivision thereof shall accept and process without delay any report of a missing person by any person at any time pursuant to this statute. And basically it says no law enforcement agency shall refuse or otherwise fail to accept this missing person's report unless they know the location of the person that's missing, they have confirmed the safe status of the person that's missing, or they have confirmed that another law enforcement agency has already completed a report on that missing person. So they have to take a report. They can't say, well, we have to wait this amount of time. That was done away with in 2016. So this 9 years ago almost. They should also, they also have to have it entered in the missing person section of NCIC and on KBI's website within 2 hours of filing that report. And it also says, let's see, here's some other stuff in here. It's supposed to provide the family member with a case number. And they're supposed to immediately commence an investigation based upon the elements of the initial report. So, I mean, this is all on the books. This statute I took directly from the Kansas legislature website. So, I mean, this is actually on the books. So, I have to remind family members of this sometimes when I talk to them in Messenger and stuff, because sometimes they'll tell me that they're having a little bit of an issue with the law enforcement agency wanting to do a report. And as well, there's I'll tell them about the statute and what it says, and I'll actually send them that statute so they can have that statute on hand so they can get a hold of them and saying, hey, this is what you're supposed to be doing, So, and I've posted this repeatedly on Kansas Missing and Unsolved as a reminder as well. So, and if anybody wants a copy of it, I can message it to you. I can email it to you, whichever you want me to do. Just let me know. But I just like to make sure that everybody in Kansas knows that this statute does exist and has existed since 2016. So they have changed the verbiage here and there a little bit. It used to say instead of within 2 hours, the original write-up was in a timely manner, but I can't remember who it was come along and said, well, that gives law enforcement a little bit of wiggle room to be able to not get it in there right away. So they put the within 2 hours in there. And then they added the KBI part of it after the KBI launched their missing persons website. So, but yeah, as it stands, if you have a missing person and you call a law enforcement agency, anyone in Kansas are supposed to, without delay, get somebody out there to take that report and have it filed within 2 hours in NCIC and on KBI. Give you a case number and start an investigation on the missing person immediately, and it's right there in black and white. So. Let everybody know that. Like I said, I've reminded a lot of people. So
good stuff, man. Good stuff. I'll chop that up and make that a standalone video, and I'll put that on TikTok, man. And people should know that.
This one I just tweaked her Kansas flyer. I didn't put it on the Missouri template because it was already down on the Kansas from which been missing in Kansas. But now Bree Ingram is missing from Boonville, Missouri since December 27th. She's 16. She's 5'6", weighs 140 to 145 pounds. As far as I know, her hair was last night to be dyed black and her eyes are blue. I was sent that picture on the right recently, and I don't know if she still has like pinkish highlights on the sides or not. Kind of get an idea there. She may still be in Boonville, or she may be in the Topeka, Kansas area. And she's 16. She's 5'6", weighs between 140 and 145 pounds. Hair was last known to be dyed black, and she may have that pink highlight in there, and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Bree's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Boonville, Missouri Police Department at 660-882-2727, or the Missouri State Highway Patrol at 573-526-6178, or 866-362-6422, and see if we can't get Bria located and back to where she needs to be. Scott says he sent me the URL link to Introduction to Trace Labs. Cool. I'll check that out after the show. Cool.
Look it up on YouTube. Somebody did a real deep dive on it. It was really cool.
I'll have to check it out. All right. And this is another December one here. And where's he at on my long list? Right there. Okay. Kyle A. Oh. I don't know if it's Neugebauer. I'm not sure. Hope I didn't chop that up too bad, but he's missing from Wichita, Kansas since December 17th, 2024. He's 26, 6 foot tall, 155 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, and I do apologize if I mangled that last name too badly. He was last seen near 143rd and Highway 254 in Wichita. He's 26, he's 6 foot tall, 155 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Last seen wearing a black Carhartt jacket, jogging pants, and tennis shoes. If you have any information regarding Kyle's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Wichita, Kansas Police Department at 316-268-4181, or 316-268-4111, or 316-263-6011, or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And see if we can help get him located and back home to his family.
It's really, really cold. I don't see how. I don't think. I hope nobody's just outside. Hopefully they're
Yeah,
at
I
least
know.
like a structure. Me and
Especially
Stephanie. Go ahead.
Especially this weekend, because I don't know about wherever you're at, but down here this weekend, we're supposed to be getting some freezing rain, drizzle, wintry mix type stuff Saturday and Sunday. So we'll see.
Well, I just went outside just now, and our windshield and the roof of my I have metal roofs on my house and garage, and the windshields and my metal roof of my garage look like it's snow. There's no snow on the ground, but they're like just ice.
Oh, wow. 'Tis the season. Yeah. I always say January and February, the worst 2 months for the winter in Kansas.
Yeah.
Always. Yeah. All right. Who's next? Oh, yeah. Caden Kukin. He initially went missing with two other females, but they have since been located, but he's still missing. He's missing out of Andover, Kansas since Christmas Day, December 25th. He's 16, 5'8" to 5'9", weighs between 140 and 160 pounds, brown hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding his disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Andover, Kansas Police Department at 316-733-5177, or the KBI at 785-296-4017. And let's see if we can't get Caden located and back to where he needs to be. He always seemed to have that really stern look on his face in all of his pictures. That's not cool. What in the world are you doing, Derek?
What?
You just blacked out everything on StreamYard.
I did.
I don't see nothing but you down there at the bottom and the dog down there at the bottom. I don't see anything on screen.
You look like you may be frozen.
What in the world happened?
Here, go ahead and leave the studio and come back.
If I could find a button on how to do that, I would. Oh, here we go.
I think you're I think you're frazzing out. Me and Typhon will cover this next one. Rhonda Jean Cushell, Elwood, Kansas. She's missing since January 25th, 1985. 32 when she disappeared. She'd now be 70. Are you back, Rick?
Yeah, I'm here again.
Well,
He seems to restored back to normal. I don't know what happened.
who knows, man? I just read the first. You can just go ahead and start from the beginning. I just basically read the name.
Yeah, I mean, it went glitchy on my end and everything went black. I don't know what happened. That was weird. Okay, this one is Rhonda Jean Cushel. I hope I said that right. Missing from Elwood, Kansas since January 25th, 1985. She was 32 when she went missing. She's now 70, 5'11", 150 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. Her mother left the house at 7 p.m. to go to St. Joseph, Missouri, and invited Rhonda to come along, but she declined. When her mother returned to the house at 9:30 p.m., Rhonda was gone. She's never been heard from again. While her father was driving to work at 10:30 p.m., he saw her car just off U.S. Highway 36 near the overpass where the road leads to the Missouri River levee. Keys were inside the vehicle, as was her purse and other belongings. The Missouri River was iced over at that site where Rhonda's car was found. Authorities noted some holes in the ice, but couldn't say whether these were related to Rhonda's disappearance. She was last known to be wearing a tan quilted waist-length jacket with a brown stand-up collar, a navy blue and white sweater vest, a long-sleeve blouse, blue jeans, and brown loafers. And when she went missing, she was 32. She would now be 70. She's 5'11", weighs 150 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Rhonda's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Elwood, Kansas Police Department at 913-365-0021 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Rhonda located and back to where she needs to be. She's a tall one, all right, 5'11".
Mm-hmm.
My boss at work, she's 5'11".
Really?
Yeah, well, I'm like 5'11" and a half. She told me she's 6 foot with boots on. She's tall. Makes me feel like a midget. Makes me feel like I'm like really short.
Well, how tall are you?
5'6.5". I'm not very tall.
Pretty much everybody on the planet is tall to you.
Yeah, I'm not very tall.
Except for my Nana. She's in your world.
Yeah.
No, you're pretty short. I've met you once. I've only met you once, right?
Yeah. My mom's only 4'11". She's tiny. Man.
My mom and dad are short. I'm like I think I'm like this far from being 6 foot.
Mm.
I tell the ladies I'm 6 foot, but I don't know if I'm actually 6 foot, but I'm pretty close.
Well, I notice I'm doing a lot of older cases tonight because I really want to get those out there. A couple of weeks ago, I wasn't really working on flyers much because I didn't have anything new coming. So I was on KBI's website going county by county and I was updating all the older cases. And I thought, you know what, we'll just make a show out of that. But this one's Ginger Mae Hudson, missing from Pittsburgh, Kansas since August 19th, 1993. She was 33 when she went missing. She would now be 64. She's 5'4", 148 pounds, auburn hair, hazel eyes. She was last seen by a city employee and neighbor at 3:30 p.m. on August 19th outside her mobile home, an eighth of a mile north of 560th Avenue on 180th Street in rural Pittsburgh, Kansas. When her boyfriend arrived home at 7:30 p.m., Ginger was not there and all of her belongings were left behind. He reported her missing just before midnight that same day. After searching the property and telephoning friends to ask where she was, Ginger has never been heard from again. She does have 4 children. At the time of her disappearance, she was 33. She would now be 64. She's 5'4", 148 pounds. She has auburn hair and hazel eyes. Ginger was last known to be wearing a white sleeveless shirt and dark colored shorts. She has a surgical scar on the inside of her bottom lip. If you have any information regarding Ginger's disappearance, you know her whereabouts, please call the Crawford County, Kansas Sheriff's Department at 620-724-8274 or the KBI at 785-296-4017. See if we can get Ginger located and back to where she needs to be. It looks like I need to add KBI to that flyer. I missed that one. And Queenie says, we see everything. Oh, that's scary.
See everything. What does she mean?
I don't know. That's why I said that's scary. Yeah, hopefully we can get some information generated on these cases because they're, like I said, they're older cases that need to be cleared. So let's see if we can't make that happen.
Yeah.
And here's another one. Wish I could remember some of the comments I was reading on her flyer since I reposted this one. Pretty darn interesting. Carol Sullins, missing from Galena, Kansas since August 31st, 1991. She was 18 when she went missing. She's now 52, 5'3", 100 pounds, blonde hair, green eyes. She was employed as an exotic dancer at Valley of the Dolls nightclub on 7th Street in Galena, Kansas in 1991. She was last seen near the club during the evening hours of August 31st of that year while she was on break. Carol was speaking to an unidentified male near the man's dark-colored pickup with a camper shell, which was parked nearby. Carol disappeared shortly thereafter and has not been heard from again. Her purse and other belongings were left behind at the bar. Authorities believe Carol died of a drug overdose sometime during the night she vanished. Investigators believe that Carol's body was buried by her drug suppliers. Extensive searches in Kansas and Oklahoma have produced no clues as to her whereabouts. Donald D. Kidwell was charged in connection with Carol's case in 2001. His arrest warrant stated that he unintentionally caused her death, but that Kidwell acted recklessly. Donald E. Davis was charged with aggravated battery in connection with Carol's case. He cooperated with authorities in regards to their case against Kidwell. In 2002, Kidwell reached a plea agreement with prosecutors and pleaded guilty to battery and obstruction of official duty. He was sentenced to 18 months in prison and fined $1,500. Kidwell told the court he did not sexually assault Carol and did not mean to cause her death, but he admitted he was responsible. Carol's mother said that her daughter had problems with drugs and alcohol, but they maintained a good relationship together. Investigators are continuing to search for Carol's remains, but there are many different theories about the location of her body. If you have any information regarding Carol's disappearance or you know her whereabouts, please call the Cherokee County Sheriff's Department at 620-429-3992 or 620-848-3000 or KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Carol located and back home to her family. I know one comment I read was talking about using ground penetrating radar to search a certain area, and somebody had made the comment about they believe that her body was buried deep enough to where it wouldn't be picked up by ground penetrating radar. So I don't know.
Well, how deep is deep enough?
I don't know. They didn't allude to that in the comments, so I don't know.
I know. It's like, I don't know. Who knows? But like,
this is interesting. Gum is saying, not sure about Kansas, but I do think there is a website that has the information on missing cases that is more than local PD gives to the public. There's one for my state, at least.
What's your state?
I don't know. And Gum says it would definitely be picked up by radar. I would think it would. I don't know if there's a depth that would be considered too deep to be picked up by ground penetrating radar or not.
Being from Kansas, you know, I hear a lot about people say stuff like, "Oh, well, it's in an old well or something." I don't know. I mean, I'm sure that's possible, but I think a lot of people just talk. You know, they're just like, "Oh yeah, it's something." I don't know. Like, if somebody told me that, like, "Oh, I know where something is, and it's deep enough. It's too deep for them to pick up," I would ask them on the spot.
He's in Pennsylvania. Gum says they're in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I would just ask him, "Can they look?" And he'd be like, "I don't know." I'd be like, "Well, then shut up. You don't know anything."
He says they still find mass graves with radars. That's interesting.
Yep, there was just like some mass grave found somewhere in the world in the last week I read about. Like, yeah, like. Yeah, I don't take some random person in the comments being like, "Oh, radar technology could never." I doubt you know what you're talking about. But,
yeah,
but whatever.
I know one of Dennis with Muddy Waters. One of his goals for this year is to acquire ground penetrating radar.
Yeah,
he wants to do some ground searches using that. So he's trying to come up with that, which I hope he does, because he could probably do a lot better searching if he could have that capability. So hopefully he can do that. Let's see. This one is Martha West Dunn, missing from Dangerfield, Texas, on September 6, 1990. 15 when she was missing. She's now 49. 5'4", 95 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes, and there's a Kansas connection with this. It's believed that Martha was traveling with Eric Owens, and they may have traveled to Oklahoma. Martha may be in need of medical attention for unspecified reasons. Again, she was 15 when she went missing. She would now be 49. She's 5'4", weighs 95 pounds, has brown hair, brown eyes. She has 2 small scars on her right cheek extending from under her eye down to her jaw. She has gaps between her teeth, and one eye tooth is pointed. If you have any information regarding Martha's disappearance, or you know her whereabouts, please call the Morris County, Texas Sheriff's Office at 903-645-2232 and see if we can help get her located. And if you want to pop Eric Owens is up there since he's connected to this. We'll just cover Eric Owens while we're at it. He's missed. This is the Kansas connection because he's missing from Augusta, Kansas. This September 6, 1990. 17 when he went missing. He's now 51. 5'10", 140 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He was reportedly last seen September 5th, 1990 in Dangerfield, Texas. It's believed he was traveling with Martha West Dunn and may have traveled to Oklahoma. Again, at the time of his disappearance, he was 17. He would now be 51, 5'10", 140 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Eric's disappearance, or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Augusta, Kansas Department of Public Safety at 316-775-4500 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get Eric located as well. As well as the other young lady we just covered prior to him, Martha West Dunn, and see what may have happened with those two. That's kind of interesting. And this one is Steve Hedgers. He's missing from El Dorado, Kansas since July 25th, 1986. He was 27 when he was missing. He's now 66. He is 5'7", 145 pounds, brown hair, brown eyes. He was last seen at a friend's home in El Dorado on that date, July 25th, 1986. At the time of his disappearance, his wife and daughter were on vacation in Washington State. Steve stayed home because he had to work. His wife repeatedly tried to call him from Washington over the next several days, but he never answered the phone. He also missed work. His wife reported him missing on July 29th, 1986. Steve left behind all of his personal belongings except his wallet, prescription sunglasses, and Social Security card. His truck was found parked in the driveway at his house, and his keys were inside the house. There were no indications of a struggle. It appeared he had left with someone he knew. At the time of his disappearance, he worked as a trucker for the now defunct Alpine Petroleum and El Dorado Crude Company. His son had died less than a year before his disappearance. On the day before his disappearance, Steve told his mother he had witnessed a drug deal between 2 of his co-workers. His mother believed he was murdered as a result of what he saw. Her theory has not been verified. However, investigators believe Steve was a homicide victim. At the time of his disappearance, Steve had a brown beard and mustache. He was wearing blue denim coveralls and tennis shoes. Now, if you have any information regarding Steve's disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the El Dorado, Kansas Police Department at 316-321-9100 or 316-321-9120 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can't get Steven located and back home to his family.
I haven't seen this one in a while.
Yeah, I just updated it, when I was updating all these other ones, and I thought, you know what, let's get him back on the show, because he hasn't been covered in a while. This is Charles Everett McHenry III, missing out of Great Bend, Kansas since May 6, 2016. He was 27 when he was missing. He's now 36. He's 6'2", 180 pounds, black hair, black eyes. He was last known to be driving with an unknown make two-door black car away from a house in the 500 block of Northwest 20 Avenue between Hoisington and Great Bend. At the time of his disappearance, he was 27. He's now 36. He's 6'2", 180 pounds, black hair and black eyes. He was last known to be wearing a black T-shirt and denim shorts. He has tattoos on left arm. One is of the cross, and it says Tyler on his upper arm, and an eagle with a flag on the lower arm. Both are pictured up there above. His eyebrow and left ear are pierced. He has a large scar near his left knee, a large scar on the right arm from elbow to the wrist, a scar on his right knee, a scar on his forehead, scars on both sides of his ribs, a scar on the bottom of his left foot, a dimple dip in his left bicep. He has a plate in his right arm from elbow to wrist and 2 screws in his left knee. If you have any information regarding Charles' disappearance, you know his whereabouts, please call the Great Bend, Kansas Police Department at 620-793-4120 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get Charles located and back home to his family. That's some pretty nice ink there.
Yeah. Great Bend, not too far from here.
No. This is Donald Walters, a case that's really got me intrigued. Another Great Bend one, as a matter of fact, since July 7th, 2020. He was 75 when he was missing. He's now 80. He's 5'5" to 5'7", weighs 135 to 150 pounds, has gray hair and blue eyes. Does suffer from Alzheimer's. His vehicle was located near the Okmulgee and McIntosh County line near the Eufaula Wildlife Management Area, east of Henrietta, Oklahoma, around July 15, 2020. A search of the area turned up some of Donald's personal items. Again, at the time of his disappearance, Donald was 75. He's now 80. He's 5'5" up to 5'7", weighs between 135 and 150 pounds. He has gray hair and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Donald's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call 911 or call the Okmulgee County Sheriff's Office at 918-756-4311 or the Great Bend, Kansas Police Department at 620-793-4120 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get him located. On that flyer there, the left-hand picture and the right-hand picture, I actually screenshotted out of some videos that the Chillin' with Chet YouTube channel had posted regarding Donald Walters, because Donald showed up at the drag races that Chet was at there in Great Bend and was driving a Porsche, Donald was, and he was challenging other people to drag him, and Chet stepped up and raced him twice, and Donald won one, lost one. And so Chet has he did a really deep dive into this case, and I've created a photo album especially for Donald's case, and it's got links to all the Chillin' with Chet videos in there with screenshots from each video, so it makes them real easy to find. But I mean, it's just a really intriguing case, and I posted there should be another flyer that shows the condition of his vehicle and stuff, the way it was found. Let's see if I can find it, and I'll show you here real quickly. Just gotta find it. Yeah, here's here's shots of his vehicle, where it was located, the condition it was found in. You can see the bottom one there, the door's open. It had flooded in that area, so a lot of water got into his vehicle, and you can see that it did a lot of damage to it. And they did find some of his stuff outside the vehicle as well, but they've never been able to locate him. So, yeah, see if we can help get him located. I found it interesting he was driving this Audi, because when he was last seen in Great Bend, he was driving that Porsche, and it was a black Porsche, and he had it souped up pretty good.
Do you know if it was submerged enough to where it was lethal levels, like where he had zero cabin air?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, he could have got stuck before it got flooded and walked away, and then it flooded and may have got washed away. I don't know.
I've had a car get flooded, and it just got up to like basically where you sit down. Like that you're gonna have a new car at that point. It's ruined. But I don't think I never felt threatened for my life. Like I was like, well, I'm gonna get a new car.
Yeah, there's a lot more information in that, and Chet's deep dive that he'd found out about Donald, and the fact that Donald worked with the government and worked on a lot of classified stuff, and wondered if that played into his disappearance and things of that nature, but I'm not sure. So that's hard to say. I mean, all I can suggest is, if you really want to deep dive this case, go to the Chillin' with Chet YouTube channel after the show and watch his videos. There's 4 of them that he devoted to this case, and they're really good. I may just rewatch them myself because I like to watch them. Okay. And this is another one here. I may replace that picture on the left hand side. I don't have a better one on the right hand, but I just got my hands on a better one on the left hand, so I may replace that one. But this is Donald Cortland Sager. He's missing from La Harpe, Kansas since February 29th, 1984. Was 53 when he went missing. He would now be 94. 6 foot tall, 180 pounds, light brown, graying hair, and blue eyes. He was last seen about 11 p.m. on February 29th of 1984. His pickup was parked outside his mobile home, and his billfold, clothes, and some money were found inside the mobile home. There were no signs of a struggle found inside his home. He has not been seen or heard from since. Again, he was 53 when he went missing. He would now be 94. 6 foot tall, weighs 180 pounds, has light brown hair that's graying and blue eyes. If you have any information regarding Donald's disappearance, you know of his whereabouts, please call the Allen County, Kansas Sheriff's Office at 620-365-1400 or 620-365-1400 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can help get Donald located and back home to where he needs to be. And this is a little bit more recent, just within the last 6-7 months. And where is he hiding at in my list? There he is. Herman Pitts, missing from Hutchinson, Kansas since June 26, 2024. 56 when he went missing. He's now 57. 6'1", 180 pounds. Has black and gray hair, possibly, and you can see the center picture. He may have shaved it bald and brown eyes. Last known to be in the Salina, Kansas area, but may also be in the Manhattan, Kansas area. Again, he was 56 when he went missing. He'd now be 57. Has black and gray hair, but is known to shave his head bald and brown eyes. If you have any information regarding Herman's disappearance or you know of his whereabouts, please call the Hutchinson, Kansas Police Department at 620-294-2800 or the KBI at 785-296-4017 and see if we can get him located and back to where he needs to be. I just had somebody message me today asking if I'd heard any information on this case or not. And unfortunately, I had to say no.
Pretty tall dude.
Yeah. Yeah, my daughter just popped in. Hey, Mo, how you doing?
What's up, Mo?
Yep.
Well, I like tonight's show. We covered a lot of older cases, got some new ones in.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any schedule issues for a while now that the holidays are kind of wrapped up.
Yeah. Says I'm good. Oh, man, I tell you what. Yeah, I wanted to make sure we got a lot of these older cases covered because, like I said, I don't think they get enough coverage. I really don't. I mean, the new ones don't either, but a lot of these older ones, I think they just get kind of forgotten about a little bit. And I just want to make sure that doesn't happen because they need to be remembered. You know, it's like I've contemplated doing a show one of these nights that just strictly deals with cases from here in town because there's a lot of them. And local media never picks up on them. I never see anything on the police department's Facebook or the sheriff's office Facebook saying, hey, still seeking information in these cases. You know, and I never see anything like that. So I've been seriously thinking about doing just a Salina only cases night some night. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I've been thinking about it because I think they really need to be done.
Yeah. I'm with you.
So.
Well, I got to take some dogs out, man. Go ahead and do your thing. We'll be back Wednesday, January 8th for another edition. I'll try to get Hope here. It's a holiday today, so I forgot about the show till Ricky messaged me. I was like, I got it. My boss gave me the day off. I was lucky. And
today is also, if he's still watching, today is Double T's 50th birthday.
Oh, wow.
He'll smack me for saying that. I just know it. But yeah, he's just joined the Half Century Club today. So
nice. Happy birthday, Double T.
Oh yeah. Anyway, just going to say, Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight to let us go through these cases. And I just really pray that this is the year that we can put found on a lot of these. And, you know, just going to leave that up to you, of course. But, you know, I just pray that the folks that hold the key to doing that will do the right thing and call the information in that they have so they can be solved. And I just want to say, until we see each other next week, stay safe, stay healthy. God bless. Have a happy 2025. Amen.